all for being here. So I will talk about digitizing and improving GIS for global health, and especially in the case of a measles vaccination campaign in Cameroon. Don't be worried if I turn red in 5 minutes, because it's my nature. So, who we are first. The name of the company is Blue Square, and we are helping global health resources get where they matter most. So we are based in Brussels, and we were created in 2012, specialized in health information system and data analytics. So we try to support governments and their partners to digitalize their tools in health, and also to share the data with the people that can take decisions. We are active in 3 continents, in almost 30 countries. So we are based in Brussels, and all that you see in blue are the countries where we are active. Right now, it's mostly in Africa. What we globally do is to help global public health actors use and manage the data in different fields. So there are 6 fields: health financing, logistic management, data warehousing, and today the fields that interest us are the geospatial information system, the monitoring and evaluation, and the data science for health. So how do we work? We deploy and develop software tools to help boost local autonomy and empowerment. So our tools allow users to easily collect, manage, structure, share, visualize the data. So there is the GIS2 suite. I don't know if you know what GIS2 is, but it is a really important tool in low and middle income countries to manage their health system. We also have OpenExa, which is a platform, open source, to integrate, extract, analyze, and visualize the data. OpenEMIS, which is linked to the open source health insurance information. And finally, Iaso, which is a 3-tool-in-1, a georegistry platform, a data collection, and a digital micro-planning platform. Yes, so these are all the tools of the company, but why am I here today, and what will I talk about? So practically today, I will show you how we try to deploy and develop a tool for measles vaccination campaign. In these sentences, there is 2 information. First, the tool, which is Iaso, and second, a measles vaccination campaign. So currently in Cameroon, there is a renewed epidemic of measles since January. This is the report of June, and on these 2 maps, you can see where the district, which districts are touched now by the epidemic. And in this map, you can see the district where the vaccination coverage is really low, so in red. First, I will show you and explain to you the tool. So the tool is Iaso, and why did we build it at the beginning? Institutions and NGO working on public health projects in emerging countries often faces the same questions and same organization problems, such as how to store multiple geographic data referential and how to merge them, how to trace the changes between all those lists, how can we organize a work at the scale with thousands of sub-teams in a country, and how to monitor the activities according to the planning. You know that in this low and middle income country, it's not easy to have always Wi-Fi, so how to collect data offline, how to validate the data collection, and finally, how to link all those data with national systems, such as the GIS2. So Iaso, as I already told you, is a 3-in-1 tool, the open source tool that allows to create a master facility list, to plan activities, and to collect data that corresponds to these activities. It is largely used in public health program in low and middle income countries. So the big picture of Iaso is that there is a web interface and also a mobile app that can be branded with an ODK compatibility. So ODK is a well-known form, it's a well-known forms project. So it is integrated in multiple workflows, being able to share data with other infrastructures, and it allows to import and data and to export to different sources like GIS system and GIS2. On the web application, there is a versioning of the data, and traceability and team management. It's really important when you have a platform and multiple users to have those information to be sure that if a user deletes something, you have the traceability and the versioning of the modification. So we can export it in GIS2 through the API, and we also use dashboarding tools like Power BI and Tableau to show the data. So this Iaso is built on open source technologies, so ODK, PostGIS. On the front end, you have Leaflet, React, and Material UI, and Jetpack Online for the mobile app, and Django. It is open source all the way, so it has been developed from the beginning as an open source tool. Our largest instance is currently deployed on an Amazon cloud, but it can also be installed on local servers. It is open to addition to new to custom plugins, and our ambition, which is not yet realized, is to create really a developer community around the tool. So that was the tool. Now the vaccination campaign. So what is a vaccination campaign and how does it work? The definition of the World Health Organization is that the vaccination campaigns are delivery strategy used to quickly reach large number of children of target population with one or more vaccines. How does it work? First, we need a plan and a micro-planification. So micro-planification is a detailed plan for a vaccination campaign, and globally this is important to know how many structures do we have that can vaccinate, what are the resources available, is there a road to reach these health centers, and so on. It's also important to identify the target population, because a vaccine like COVID-19 is not the same as a measles vaccine. Sometimes you have to vaccinate children and sometimes older populations. When you have these two, when you have identified your population and you have your microplan, then it's important to communicate around this campaign, like when it will happen, where, and who is the target population. Then you have the campaign, we administrate the vaccines, and during the campaign there is also this monitoring and surveillance, which is really, really important. How many children did we vaccinate? Do we reach the objectives? Do we need more vaccines in one district or in one region? So on. So micro-planning is the part that will interest us, and micro-planning is all about assignments. Assignment is to give to user a task in a given location, in a certain location. So it will require a data collection tool and a georegistry. So just to give you a context, historically the microplanning in Cameroon was done at the health area level and the district level. So health area level, if you can see it, is really in grey. And the district level is in black. So at the center level, at the health center level, they fill paper forms as usual. Then they give this paper form to the health areas, and at the health areas they use Excel sheets. And when the Excel sheets was completely finished with the budgets that it will cost in these areas, how many children they had vaccinated and so on, They give the Excel to the district that will validate and make a microplan at the district level, and then it goes down. So it's really a hierarchical cascade of information. The result is that kind of, you don't really see it, but Excel sheets with all the information about the campaign. So vaccines, how many people we need in this district or health area to vaccinate. Do we have enough cold chain? Do we have enough budget to vaccinate, and so on? And it results on a map with the health areas, and in each health areas the health centers, and in each health centers who will vaccinate which day and what is the target population. So that was historically. Where we tried to digitalize is really this microplan part. At the beginning, the vaccination campaign was planned for September, but now that there is an epidemic, the campaign will take place next week. So we could not digitalize all the campaign, all the steps that we wanted at the beginning to digitalize. So first, a complete georegistry. So Iaso is made to manage geospatial data, so combines many referential lists, compare feature, match feature to avoid to have duplicates. And for example, when you have multiple sources that have the same health center but different geolocation point for this health center, you can choose which one is the best. So it supports GeoPackage, GHIS2 information, CSV, and PostGIS geometry. It is organized as organization units, so each part of the health hierarchy is an organization unit. And it is also organized by organization unit type. So a health area is one type, a district is one type, and a health center is one type. It's also bi-directional with GHIS2, and as I said, there is a traceability of data modification if users that have maybe too many permissions make a mistake, then we can go back to the previous version. So in Cameroon, what we had to do is have a really complete health structure at each stage of the health structure, so at the district level, at the health center, health area level, and at the health center. So we also needed to correct and consolidate boundaries. We need to train the local staff to modify all the pyramid and have something really complete in Iaso. The key inside this georegistry is that currently there is no tool that makes this pesky data source and matching problems fully disappear. So you always need GIS experts to identify and to solve the GIS issues. What you also need is to decentralize the validation of the structure. If I create a health center, because it will be a health center for this vaccination campaign, it's not the central level that has to validate that this is really a health center, but the health area level. And so you need to decentralize all the organization, and so that everyone is informed about the tool and trained. What is really interesting is that routine activities, so routine vaccination every day during the year, can enhance the registry, because in the form, ODK form, you can take a geopoint. And so if you take a geopoint when they do vaccination routine, then you can enhance your health pyramid. And also always needs to export those data, because in those countries they sometimes use different tools, and they need to, if you have a complete pyramid in Iaso, it has been exportable to other tools. Step 2 is collect data for each organizational unit, as I said. In Iaso, it is ODK based, but with more structure. That means that every user has a dedicated zone. and it can only fill forms for this zone. So if a form is attached to a health area, it can only fill the form for the health area. It cannot fill the form for a district. So the form are linked to a type of org unit. It has a periodicity. During the campaign, for example, the form has to be filled every day for 5 days. So we said periodicity is days, and before the campaign, 0 after 5 days. We also have this versioning of the forms. There is a validation mechanism when a form is filled. Then the health area level can validate the form of a health center, for example, to be sure that there is no mistakes in the forms. We can also filter by region, by sub-region, by type of form. There are many filters in the platform to see which forms were filled and where. When the data are collected, we can monitor the collection of the data with this completeness report. So you can see how many percentage of the forms were filled during the period. Like if they had to fill 5 forms for the campaign and it's only 3 or 5, you can see it on this completeness stat. And you can also filter with all the filters there. And finally, the last tool that we developed recently is what we call the registry. And in this registry, you can see, for example, this is in health areas with all its children. Children means health center or locality that belongs to the health areas, and the form that were filled by the children, and also the form that were filled for the health areas. And you can always change it because there is this enquête button, and you can go change the form directly. So when you have collected the data, you have a good health pyramid, then the step 3 is the microplanning, obviously. This year, as I said, this was the Excel sheet that they were filling at the beginning, and what we tried to do with the short time that we had was to implement this in a web service. And so all the information in Iaso with the data collected were used to fill like the Canva, the form of the Excel, and they had just to validate it online. So what they do is a big training with all the health areas, and all the health areas have to validate it. And when they changes some information in this web service, then it goes directly to Iaso to change it as well. So at the end, we had that download microplan with all the information of the microplan of all the health areas, and we could print it in PDF because for them it's really important to still have papers and see the maps. The last point is this feature in Iaso, which is what we call the planning feature, when you can assign directly a team to a region or to a health center. We could not use this for this vaccination campaign because it's a manual tool and we didn't train them enough to use it for all the country. But it's an interesting tool because it's user-friendly web interface when you're trained. It has this ability to target specific organization units, and you can manage large-scale activities through teams and sub-teams. So you can say to a team, this is the region where you have to work. To a sub-team, this is the district in the region where you have to work, and so on until the person is served. The key inside this micro-planning is that so it's a manual planning, but we wanted to make it automated. But slapping an algorithm can be the easy part, because actually the hard part is to getting clean database, providing an easy way to view, understand, and modify the results of the algorithm, and change management, so the devices. what you maybe know, but paper is hard to beat for field workers for the moment. You need to go further, helping them with navigation if you put something on their phone. And proving the impact of digitization is still an open question, because now it's the first time we really digitalize kind of the whole campaign. Finally, let's campaign. So for next week, what we plan is first to fill paper form for the primary entry for the field workers. They will really have these time sheets and complete it every day. And at the district level, there is a secondary data entry in Iaso with ODECA. And finally, linked to Iaso, we will have dashboards to have this data monitoring during the campaign in near real time. And it will be available online via a link for all the people that are involved in this campaign. And this dashboard will be done at the district and the central level. And this was my final slide. And this is done. It's just an example of a dashboard linked to Iaso. So you see the country where the vaccination is good enough, where it is not good enough, and all the information about the forms that they filled during the campaign. Thank you for your attention.
Questions? Anybody?
Now, how do you deal with with security when it comes to, because health data are really, really sensitive. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do the systems go about this?
So the users in the system have permission to see like the permission of the system in Iaso. So you can sometimes just fill the submission, or you can just see the area where you belong. So you cannot see all the platform features, and it's only the central level of the country that has those permission to see all the data. So it's really a user management, and it's done at the central level, so they know how to deal with all the users.
Anybody else? We have almost 10 minutes that we need to fill. You fill them as waiting, or we can fill them as discussion.
Sorry, it wasn't clear to me. What is the source or spatial granularity of the population? Is it the users that are connected, or are you getting that from census? The target population?
The target population. The health areas knows about the target population, but we never know if the numbers that they gave to us or they gave to the microplan are the right one. There is a big challenge now to reach the complicated population. For example, the zero-dose children in Africa. We are working on this with spatial data. To find villages or localities where no one can access, for example. But we have to trust the districts and the health areas about those numbers, but we actually don't know. We do not have census in Cameroon for the moment. We hope to have it have more accurate numbers, but for the moment it's complicated. It's met everywhere in Africa, right? Because we are working everywhere.
How did you go about the change management process? Because we do a similar thing where rolling out surveys, and often we find that we fill in the paper form and give it to someone else to fill in a digital form. So it's been hard to train and get people to take it up. How do you build that up?
During the campaign, you mean? Mm-hmm. It's not really our goal to manage that. We hope that the district and the health areas manage all those people. But so they have to fill this paper form at the field worker level, and all those paper forms are given to the health areas, and they control everything if if the data are correct or not. Our goal is to digitalize this part as well, because then you can really control every day if the data are good or not. And also in ODK, you can put that like constraint. Say, okay, if you say that there was thousands of children and it's not possible, then you can just have this red flag on the phone.
Is it also available like in different languages? Because or is it only English, French?
For the moment, it's only English, French, because we work in countries where it's almost English and French countries. But we had a project in Morocco, and there it was the question of do we translate everything in Arabic or not, like that. For the moment, I think it's still an open question.
Anybody else? And if not, then we can change the presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you.